Hey guys, LV here. As you can see from the title, today we're going to review a different group today. Today we're going to review the group Flower, and we're going to review their debut album, Flower. As always with my videos, this review was requested. It was requested by the YouTube user JPR, so thank you very much for requesting this album, and I do hope you and the other fans of Flower can enjoy the opinions I have on this. Before I start this review, I should say I am not too familiar with the group Flower. However, I do know that they are part of an e-girl group. I do know that, and I do know from a little research I've done, I do know that 3 of them are actually vocalists, and the other 9 of them are actually like performers. But either way, they mesh themselves in this album. But still, correct me if I'm wrong, because I still don't really know that much about this group. So if I'm giving any false information, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Anyway, let's get on with this review because I'm rambling on too much. The first track is Still. When I first heard this tune, I will admit I got this rather Jasmine vibe because they do have the same sound in terms of R&B. I will admit when I first heard this tune right here, I didn't really care for it all that much because I found it to be your average song about heartbreak. It took a while to grow on me, but it finally managed to eventually. I have to admit, I really admired the overall structure of it since it contains these nice sounding instrumentals alongside these evident synths and this constant R&B beat that really spoke out to me. And I have to admit, I find myself singing this hook over and over again, like right here. I'm still in love with you. I keep singing that. I don't know why, but I think that's the most catchy part of the song and the most part of the song that really stands out. I notice I haven't really talked about vocals so far, but I will say for this track, I did like how the girls blended their vocals alongside each other because it actually showcases the true strength of what their vocals can actually do. So that was a really good plus for this. While this song does maintain that R&B vibe, I realized that the overall arrangement is more quick than anything else for this song. Although I did find that a bit confusing within the beginning, I realized it made sense when it comes to the overall concept of sound on this album. I found the quality of the song extremely interesting. For one, I really like the lingering sound effects that's echoing within the background here, because that truly gives you a chance to really visualize what's going on in the song, and that's what I feel what gives the song more life. And again, it makes you notice the tremendous activity that's going on within this piece. And also, I really like the vocalization that was conceived here because it definitely solidifies the song's more grandiose aroma, and I really enjoyed that. The next track is Let Go Again, which features the rapper Verbal. When you first hear this right here, it seems like things were slowing down at first. For some reason, I did find that soothing to hear. And yet, as the song keeps progressing, and then when their vocals right here, when their vocals are suddenly thrown in, the overall sound of it seems to intensify profoundly. And I will admit I did like that because it showcased a different characteristic of the tune itself. Yet when the girls are finally singing within the verses here, the intensity suddenly dies down, all of which I found really attention grabbing in a sense. Although we can't really hear much here, I will say that in terms of music and vocal and structure, I really enjoyed its resonance tremendously, as it simply complements the dazzling effects within the arrangement. Although we don't really hear it much within this tune right here, I will say that I really enjoyed their let go parts, because I felt those parts right there, it definitely aided this painful feel that's really incorporated within these lyrics. And I have to say, that was a good job on their part. And considering this is the longest track on the album, since I know it's over 6 minutes, I thought that this tune was executed rather nicely, because it definitely showcased the song of the utmost beauty. The next track is太陽と向日葵, which translates into Sun and Sunflower. This has to be one of my most favorite songs off this album. I really love how simple it is within the beginning right here, before it really explodes into this really lovely arrangement here that screams the overall best in R&B. Although for this tune, I will say that their vocals aren't really doing anything too spectacular, I will say I definitely enjoyed the life they brought into this song. My favorite parts mostly consist of the chorus right here, because I think within the chorus, the mere instrumentals they use here, it truly affects the lingering beauty that's really contained within it, and I have to say I really like listening to stuff like that because it utterly dazzles me every time I hear it, and I really love that about this song right here. Based off this song, I will say that this was definitely a good representation of the group, since this tune is so delightful and sweet that I can't help but want to listen to it over and over again. The next song is Fadeless Love. This tune right here, it takes a slightly different route than the other previous tracks. Right away, you get to hear these cool, buzzing synths with here that really drown the melody into this more powerful beat. Although I will admit this was an interesting listen for me because the girls, they really did try to do something right here. Yet I will say that this is probably one of the album's more forgettable tracks. Because despite the things that they are doing within the song, I really did find the production a bit flat on certain levels, so However, I still consider it to be a good dance tune that shows off the girls' more energetic side while still maintaining the overall strength of their vocal. The next song is Your Gravity. Again, this tune tends to take a more different route since it's more upbeat than the other previous tracks. One thing I really like about this tune was that their vocals right here, they were very strong and consistent, which further strengthens the creative structure within the song's atmosphere. I also liked how the arrangement had more of a western groove to it that really reminded me of earlier music that I heard within the 2000s. However, just like the other tune, this tune didn't really impress me all that much since the overall composition of it can be a bit boring after a while. Still, I found it to be a decent tune that maintained its poppiness within the overall sound of this album. The next track is Boyfriend, parentheses Moonlight version. I really like how I had the chance to hear this lingering piano within the beginning because that there fully introduces the more recognizable concept of loneliness that's rather hard to ignore. Even though the instrumental mostly consists of that gentle piano alongside this simple dance beat here, I will say it really did give a peaceful change regarding the overall arrangement of this album. Their vocals here set a rather good tone that surprisingly carried these rather distinctive elements that strongly emerges with the song's title. Again, although the song does possess good qualities, I will say it doesn't really stand out when comparing it to the other great songs of this album. However, I will say that it did do its purpose and I am quite satisfied with that. Upon hearing this colorful mix right here, I just knew that this was going to open up into a rather awesome tune because I really enjoyed what it was doing right here. It opens up sounding like this disco-themed track, yet I did find it a tad bit more refined. If I had to find the right word to describe this song, I would say that the song is very sweet in nature. I really like the bounciness this song inflicts because it screams fun, and I really enjoyed that about this song. I noticed I haven't really talked about the lyrics for this album, but for this song, I will say I really did like the lyrics a lot because they definitely highlight the songs beautifully. From hearing the quirky effects of the arrangement to the cheerful concept of their voices, I really found that the structure of this song extremely lively. Of course, the chorus has to be the best part within this tune because it's definitely very playful and very fast-paced. Overall, I found this tune really enjoyable because it proves to be something fresh even when we're already halfway through the album to an extent, so really nice. From a little research I've done on this song, I am aware that this song right here isn't Flower's song. This is actually a cover song that was originally by the artist Matsutoya Yumi. I apologize if I mispronounced her name. Despite it being a cover, I thought this song was wonderful because there are a lot of elements here that made this song quite memorable. I was really surprised by how groovy this song was because that there is what definitely made this song really stand out to me. It features a lot of strong vocals from the girls that definitely emphasizes the power of the song quite well. Of course, my favorite part is always of the chorus.恋人がサンタクロース、本当のサンタクロース. Overall, I was really pleased with this song since it works wonders and truly gives this song an epic feel. The next track is Shirayuki Hime, which translates into Snow White, yet another R&B ballad. Not that there's nothing wrong with that, of course. It's just I'd rather we get something new for a change. Yet regardless of that factor, I did find myself liking this song a lot. From hearing this tune countless times, I will say that I did like their vocal abilities since they did a good job unfolding the instrumental into something really magical. This truly sounds like something you hear within the snowy sky here, since it strongly reenacts that lingering theme within it. Although I will say this song's no different from the other R&B songs on this album, I still think that this was a lovely song to listen to. I really enjoyed the start of this lingering piano right here. It really brings this welcome change to a certain extent. As always for the overall structure of style, it starts off quietly with the girl singing softly within the verses here. The verses are continually slow throughout the verses, and I will say it keeps maintaining that pattern until it moves into its more grander arrangement, and that's when the song, it eventually gains more momentum, and I really found that trait to be quite exceptional if I had to be frank. While I don't really consider this to be a power ballad, I do believe that it was conceived rather beautifully. Although we don't really have a chance to hear it here, I will say that I really like that we had a chance to hear this Spanish piano that's within the bridge of this song, because that definitely emphasizes the touch of sadness that this song was aiming for. The next track is Hatsukoi, which translates into First Love, another R&B ballad. There's nothing wrong with that. While the aroma of the song is the same, I will say that the girls here do try to switch it up a little bit right here, and I did like that. For this tune, it abandons the more R&B standard traits, and it tries to move into this more upbeat, mellowish type of ballad, and because of that, I found the quality of this song extremely attention-grabbing. I definitely enjoyed the overall beats and strings of this song, because that definitely fitted within the vocal abilities of the girls. And the chorus itself has a really nice effect as well, since it's probably the most expressive part of the song, based on the emotion that they placed here. Although it's not my favorite track of this album, I will say that it was a lovely ballad, so really good. We finally reached the final song on this album, and what better way than to end it with another ballad? Oh my goodness. Upon first listen right here, I will say that this tune had a rather magnificent start, since it displays the lighter side of R&B quite nicely. And those were the good things that I did find really good about this song. Yet as the chorus arrives, I will say that the song slightly goes downhill a bit, because, I don't know, the chorus to me, it seemed a bit rushed, and it wasn't like, it didn't really grab me like the other tracks did. So, that's the only bad thing I will say about this song. Despite this song being a little rough on the edges, I will say that I did find the overall structure of the song simply divine, and I thought that this was a rather good way to close off the album quietly, so. Overall, this was a fairly decent album, and I can see myself listening to these tracks again, so that was really good for this. Although I found the structure of this album good, I will say that this album does share its share of negative traits. Don't get me wrong, the conceivement of these songs were very, very beautiful. I can't deny that. They really were. Yet I will admit it was rather hard for me to see the beauty based off the album structure. They kept using that same formula over and over again. R&B ballad after R&B ballad. I mean, occasionally they had some upbeatness here, yet the overall structure of this album mainly consisted of ballads, and after a while, they did start to sound the same. Despite that setback, I still thought that this was a fairly decent album. The girls did an excellent job when it came to displaying their vocal abilities that made the structure of this album shine at least a little bit. I'll admit this album's not entirely perfect, yet the overall mood of it is simple yet effective, and that there is what makes the album work. So that's all I have to say on this album. Once again, I would like to thank the YouTube user JPR for requesting this album. I really enjoyed that you wanted to hear my thoughts on this album, because that there is what definitely makes doing these J-pop reviews really worth it in the end. As always with my videos, the next review I'm going to do is going to be another request, so if anyone has any more requests they would like me to make, just leave it in the comments below and I'll be sure to get to it eventually. As always, I'll see you guys in the next video. So until next time, bye!